audible to all? Yes. Great. I think first of all, a round of applause to having all of us here in this room. Let's just applaud ourselves, ladies. It's a delight really to address an audience which you can relate so much to. Great to have you all here. My name is Shweta Singh. I think we covered the essence about what women go through and how we strive and what we want to do to really move ahead. I think the entire event, Rising 2023, is about doing new things, doing things differently, being more forward-looking. And I think a lot of our sessions, are very, very forward-looking, right? Robotics, AI, deep learning. But what I intend talking about today is something actually very basic. Which is something which is always what a data team or people who are part of the data or tech or the hybrid teams that we may have is their responsibility. The idea really is कि ये हमारी problem क्यों है? Why is this a problem for the data team to ensure that the data quality is right? हम लोगों को ऐसी आदत हो गई है. We've got used to it कि हमको कुछ भी project, कोई भी task, कोई भी assignment मिलेगा तो we will take it and we will build it. Yeah, women are really great in multitasking. They are really good in managing a lot of things in the organization which one can bet upon. So हमको जो मिलता है हम ले लेते हैं और फिर हम इसको ठीक करने लगते हैं. And we do it. We do it right. We bring it right. We will make it work. We will sweat. We will make our team sweat. We will छोड़ देंगे घर में बच्चे ने खाना खाया कि नहीं बट मेरी ये कॉल चल रही है ख़त्म कर लो पहले बिकॉज ये चीज़ मुझे फिक्स करनी है या मुझे ये चीज़ रिपोर्ट करनी है या मुझे प्रेजेंट करनी है. हम वो सब कुछ कर लेंगे बट वी ऑफन गो बैक एंड वी डोंट क्वेश्चन. राइट नाउ डेटा क्वालिटी इज समथिंग वेरी वेरी बेसिक. बहुत ही छोटा सिंपल नॉट सो टॉक्ड अबाउट टॉपिक है जिसपे हम लोग कभी भी आवाज़ नहीं उठाएंगे. वी डोंट रेज आवर वॉइसेस अगेंस्ट इट. Right? How many of us face issues on data quality when we do whatever work we are doing? Yeah? Me too. Lot of us. अब हमको मॉडल बनाना हो, डीप लर्निंग है, मशीन लर्निंग है, AI है, रोबोटिक्स, everything forward in our life, at least in our country, data is a mess. Data या तो था नहीं, जब आने लगा तो complete नहीं है, पूरा नहीं है, quite a part of it is not usable. कोई भी डेटा टीम जब काम शुरू करती है आई एम स्पीकिंग हिंदी बट लेट मी ट्राई ट्रांसलेटिंग. व्हाट वी स्टार्ट डूइंग इज कि वी स्टार्ट फिक्सिंग इट. ठीक है. सो इफ मोबाइल नंबर्स आर नॉट कंप्लीट वील स्टार्ट पुटिंग लॉजिक्स. अच्छा इसको कैसे हिस्टोरिकल डेटा हम ठीक कर सकते हैं. कंप्लीट नहीं है तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं. वी स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग मॉडल्स एंड अच्छा दिस पार्ट वी हैव टू एक्सक्लूड बिकॉज ये कई तरह से यूजेबल नहीं है. वी हैव ऑल ऑफ दिस. एवरीडे लाइफ इज लाइक दैट. And therefore the genie, the K quotient, whatever we are making will never be what it possibly can be. I'm not saying कि अच्छा नहीं होता है. We spend so much in our techniques to get it right that we will do a very good job on that. But हम कभी ये सवाल उठाते नहीं हैं और यहाँ हम अपनी ही प्रॉब्लम लेके चलते हैं. It's always our problem. It's always a problem of the data or the analytics or the MIS or whichever version where we have data units. It's always our problem. So, the thought really is, and it's a very, 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 very simple few slides, is to really leave a thought amongst us that can we rise and talk about this? Yeah, I mean the theme is rising. So, can we just give this a thought and start talking about some of these things? Yeah, and let me put the disclaimer. The images are taken up from the internet and, a disclaimer that credit to whichever is the data source for these images. Now, this is what our life is, right? थोड़ा कुछ अजीब सा कहीं किसी चीज़ में आया तो उसको हटा दो. बाकी चीज़ों का हम ग्राफ, ट्रेंड, मॉडल जो भी बनाना है वो हम बना लेंगे. Because we don't know what is wrong in some part of our historical data. We will ignore it. We will keep it aside because that does not make sense. Yeah? Now, what I want to spend a few minutes is what is we can do about it. So there are some 5-6 things we need to start measuring. That is the first point. The more important point is give it back. Give it back to wherever it is coming from. the data source generator, फिर वो चाहे sales की team हो, whether it's a sales team, whether it is your marketing team, whether it is any other way in which offline data is collected, whether it is your branch, whether it's your website, give it back to them and tell them to own it. I think at best what some of our organizations do is कि अच्छा अभी मोबाइल नंबर के बारे में बहुत there's enough जागरूकता about it, so people will start saying अच्छा OTP validation डाल दो, अच्छा 10 digit वाला rule डाल दो, these things we all do. Some of the simple things हम कर लेंगे, उससे हमें लगता है कि everything will get right, but that is the only part we do. I'll just cover a few things what can be looked into. Sorry. Yeah, we spoke about this, right? Data will talk about anything, we will make our own assumptions, we'll add up, delete, do some things which does not make any sense, and then we'll sweat our blood to get this right. 5-6 things which are important about data, right? Consistency. मतलब अगर मेरा नाम मेरी कंपनी की एक डेटा या प्लेटफॉर्म में अगर श्वेता सिंह इन दिस स्पेलिंग है, तो अगर कहीं और भी मेरे HR के रिकॉर्ड में या एनी अदर प्लेटफॉर्म में मैंने कुछ इंटरैक्टिविटी करी है, does my name reflect the same in all platforms of my company? Right? It is not. Right? I have a classic example of my own where, my team's name would have changed few times as in the departmental name. So while your name and designation will keep getting updated, sometimes my function and my department in some platform of the company is different. So when you think about the customer, if he is come by a standard way कि उसने आपसे कुछ खरीदा है, you will have a particular record about him. If he is come through your customer service, there is some entry about him. There are a lot of times he may come and do a repeat purchase and we may have different entries about him. It is not consistent in the same data, not consistent in the other platforms. We do nothing about it. We will do our own math, science and geography and then figure out if the guy is same, right? We don't ever table it to our board. The other part is, accurate. And is it valid? Addresses in your historical data are very dated. We don't update if the guy has changed. Even if he has called your customer service and given his updated details, your mainframe application or data will have his record of the way he bought your first product and those are the details. So, validity and accuracy, that's the second piece. And I'll just run this quickly. Is it complete? Is your, fill rate, that's the word we all use, right? Fill rate in our data is X, Y, Z. Mobile में 80% fill rate है, 90% fill rate है. Address line 2 has a fill rate of 60%. पूरा ही नहीं होता है. We don't have, very important things being captured to 100% level. Then, is it unique? Sometimes you see mobile number is same for many people. 2-3 लोगों के नाम पे है. For all you know, your sales guy is entering his number, and you are running all over the place कि ये बंदे अलग हैं लेकिन number same है. Lot of these things, very basic issues we deal with, and this is all the problem which we will fix, right? And then is it coming to you real time? Now there is some information which may not be required real time, but some information is really important to have it real time because you will want to inform your your corresponding stakeholder. Sometimes I have these examples in some forums where data is not updated. वो किसी में marketing team ने या cross sell team ने कुछ birthday campaign चला के कुछ भेज दिया. The guy in that household died few days ago. Data is not updated. You sent a birthday card trying to sell another product, and then a complaint will land up in the office. We have these instances, small, but they do happen. So how real time is your information? Now these are various factors which, according to at least my take on it, should be measured. The way to go about doing it, look into your own data set or whichever industry we are belonging to, right? This is not required for every data element, but identify some 8, 10, 12, 50, 100 critical data elements, CDE we call it. Identify the critical data elements which are imperative to your business, right? And then start measuring these for them. Start measuring it. Now, not all 6, 7 parameters are valid to each element. like mobile number is important to be real time, maybe. Maybe the address is not. So sort of have a hypothesis built कि मेरे लिए इस organization में for our need these set of variables are important. For these set of variables, completeness, uniqueness, consistency is very important. For some, maybe real time is also important. For some, maybe all 6 are important, and there could be more, right? I'm just stating what my views are and how we are sort of trying to pick it up, and start giving it a weightage. So a little blurred, but the point really is identify your domain. Customer एक domain है, HR का data एक domain है, seller का data एक domain है. For your domains and whatever variables you want to pick up, define that maybe for a particular variable, completeness, validity, consistency is important, the other are not. For another data element, maybe, whichever combination works, whatever is important, you arrive at that. Give it weightage. Now that's a call you will need to take with your team and the organization. Give it a weightage of which other parameter is important to what extent, right? And then you start measuring it. So for example, customer ID है 100% complete होनी चाहिए, valid होनी चाहिए, consistent, unique सब होनी चाहिए, and you arrive at a certain hypothesis and you measure कि आपके data में customer ID अगर आप इस month की या historical उठाते हो, and if you fit it into these parameters, what score do you get? Likewise for whatever you pick up. When you start getting these scores, the idea is that whoever generates this unique ID and customer ID is possibly something which IT has set up a format in the system. Date of birth is possibly something which the seller is capturing when the application form is being filled. Whoever owns whichever data, give them the scores back. Call it your data quality score or whatever quality score you want to name it. You can give a fancy name and say this is your data quality score. And as we evolve, it should become KPI of that unit, because they need to own it, because they are generating it. And then whatever they need to fix it, right, whether it is with IT or any other unit, please do it. Because if data is going to be the most important, is going to be the most important thing as we are evolving in the trend, in the era that we are in, this has to be important, right? And it has to be owned by the people who are generating it. We can spend our lives cleaning it. There are vendors to clean data, there are vendors to do dedupe. You can keep doing all that. But the point is, जो इसको generate कर रहा है, उसको own करना पड़ेगा. So give it back, whether it's an application owner, seller, marketing, whoever in your organization. Tell them your score is 46, you need to improve. Next time when I measure after a quarter, after 6 months, this better go up. And make it their problem. Because it is not your problem. You're dealing with it and you're making whatever wonders we are making out of it. But this problem has to be fixed at the grassroots. So that really is a thought, right? Whichever business application, warehousing, data lake, data mart, whatever you're using, start measuring and giving it back to wherever it is coming. Data quality score of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whichever people are owning that set. Give them their DQ scores back. Tell them that they need to fix or do something about it to fix. They can of course take our help, they can take the help of IT, whoever is required. But this has to start fixing. Each one has to own. Because tomorrow when you are consuming it, it's not just that something we are consuming, it is also something which some other application will use this data, right? हम कुछ और application बनाएंगे, customer app बनाएंगे, seller app बनाएंगे, service app बनाएंगे. All these apps will be using this data. And they should also know what is the level of the quality. So it's a flow which goes both way. And that is the only thought I really wanted to leave behind with all of us. And this is something we don't talk about. We don't, push it back. And the thought really is to, start talking about it. It will take a while that people acknowledge data quality standards, start accepting it. It's a journey, but it should start. Some of the organizations have progressed very well. They have a DQ score for each application and owner, and they own. And they are reviewed if their scores don't change. We are doing it as well, and there are a lot of organizations who know how valuable data is going to be tomorrow, and they're trying to do that fixing today so that tomorrow is better. And this is something we don't talk about in any data science or any forum where, even if we are presenting the projects, initiatives, and there's a lot of ROI we are getting, but we don't talk about some of the most fundamental things like this. I think that was the only thought that I wanted to sort of bring to all of us, that let's make it our DNA, let's make it the fabric of our business, because this is what will be used by everybody tomorrow if it isn't today. So start talking about it, start putting it into place, start making the ownership go to the people where it belongs, and then, have this journey to evolve of what your data quality has to be like. I think that's pretty much about it. Anybody who has any questions, I'm happy to address, but the objective really was just to plant this thought that we have to do something about it. We should start talking about it, start doing something about it so that things change. Otherwise, we'll keep doing what we are doing, and we will spend a lot of time in first part of your data building exercise is to clean data, right? Your data scientists spend 70% of their time in getting the data right. Then the model building, it doesn't take so much time. So, our teams can be far more productive and can do so much more. As an organization, we can do so much more if we start fixing some of the basics. So it's all about going back to basics and really fixing them. That's all I want to leave the thought with all of us. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.